Welcome back to Personal Pension Radio. I'm Kraig Strom, as you heard in the introduction, the income engineer. My mission, my goal is to help you think about and take action towards maximum retirement income. The conversation around retirement income often gets washed away and diluted by save, invest, stock market. That's all good. Absolutely, you've got to do that. But investments by themselves are not the answer to maximum retirement income. One of the key factors to maximizing lifestyle is minimizing expenses. And that's why this section, this is episode 258, Deal of the Week. That's why I really love Deal of the Week, because it's all about living well without spending full price retail on everything. It's not about pinching pennies and not doing anything or going anywhere or ever not buying anything. It's about being smart when you spend your money. Because if you can spend your money efficiently, it will last longer. You can enjoy more things, do more things. That's what Deal of the Week is all about. Now, if you missed last week's episode about boats, I talk about a client that I met who wanted to buy a boat and, in my opinion, blew $1.76 million. Basically lost $1.76 million because they were impatient and they had to have a brand new boat. Sorry, if they had just waited and done a tad little bit of research, they probably would have saved $1.7 million. Go back and listen to that episode for full details on episode 257. Now this time, episode 258, let's talk about planes. Friends with planes. I love that idea. Again, I don't need a plane. I have friends with planes. Literally, I have friends with planes. But a few weeks ago, a friend and I stopped by the local airport after my car show. I run a large car show every Saturday here in Southern California. And after the show, we went over there to do a photo shoot with two of his customer cars. He does these amazing paint protection jobs on these beautiful cars. So I offered to drive his amazing car, or this amazing car, over to the airport so we could do a photo shoot. Now, while we were there, my friend walked over to one of the small planes that was there near the runway, and it had a for sale sign on the plane, right? And he said, "Hey, we should buy a plane together," right? He looked at his financial planner friend and said, "We should buy a plane together." Now, the backstory on this, just so you know, my daughter, hello Madeline, sometimes she watches me on YouTube with these videos, she listens on the podcast. My daughter, at one point, after I had pressed her many times for what does she want to do in life, she had decided she wanted to be a pilot. Now, once she actually gravitated towards being a pilot, I went full on into researching planes and being a pilot and what it takes to actually make a living being a pilot, and maybe buy a plane, get certified myself to fly, all of that, okay? I dug into the private pilot thing in a big way, okay? Now, ultimately, once we really dug into the level of work, number one, the amount of work that it took to actually get to a point where you could make a decent living as a private pilot without going into the military and basically being subject to who knows what kind of postings around the world to be a pilot, Madeline decided to go in a different direction. And that's fine. But I had done all this work. So my friend didn't realize that I had already done a lot of research on buying a private plane and what it really costs. So for you, I want to break this down, okay? It's just, Deal of the Week is going to be just, let's talk about planes, because people think, well, it's got to be cheaper than, renting one, or wouldn't it be great if we had a plane? Let's just break it down so that you know what it costs to own a small private plane. So A 1975, now hear me again, I am recording this in 2021, so a 1975 plane, a small single-engine plane that seats 4 people, costs at least $47,000. That's right, 1975, $47,000 for the plane. Here in Southern California, and if you don't want your plane to be sitting out in the baking sun all year long, you need to have a hangar. So a hangar costs $5,700 a year for a hangar at our local airport. Insurance costs $1,500, so a little over $100 a month to insure the plane. So it's $7,200 for the fixed, just general cost monthly, annually, just to own the plane. Now, operating cost is a whole different ball of wax. If you're actually going to file it away and say, I have a plane in a hangar, well, it costs you $7,200 a year. But if you're going to fly it, there's a whole level of expense. Roughly, just roughly, because the price of fuel will go up and down, it will cost around $225 an hour to fly the plane. $225 an hour to fly the plane. Now that's covering maintenance and various services that will have to be done. Annual maintenance might cost on top of that $3,000 just to make sure that you have the appropriate work done on the plane. The estimated operating costs for 100 hours of flight, $25,000. 100 hours of flight for $25,000. Now, I have a friend who is currently upgrading the avionics, all the electronics and the radios in his very old plane. He's upgrading all of the electronics, which you really need to do to keep up with modern technology. The upgrade cost him at least $6,000 just to upgrade the radios and stuff, and the GPS and the maps and the various things. And that's not all of his electronics. He's just updating some of the key parts, he said. $6,000. So $7,200 just to park a plane in a small, ugly little hangar, and then $25,000 if you fly 100 hours. Of course, the overall cost drops a little bit per rata if you fly more, but most people don't. That's the thing, is when you get your own plane, most people don't fly frequently enough to actually bring the overall percentage cost down. So the moral of the story, the only money pit bigger than a boat is a private plane. Okay? The only money pit bigger than a boat is a private plane. So what should you do if you want to be a private pilot? Rent a plane. Okay? You can rent from a local school, a local plane rental at an airport nearby your home. In most regional metropolitan areas, there's an airport, and there are schools that will teach you how to fly, and they will rent planes. Those schools keep those planes up, they're serviced, they're maintained, and as long as you do your pre-flight checks and so forth every time you go up, it will cost you a fraction of the annual service and maintenance and everything else to rent it instead. So if you have any questions on it, if you have any feedback on something that is actually a deeper money pit than a plane or a boat, please send me an email, Kraig with a K at kraigstrom.com, Kraig with a K at kraigstrom.com. Thanks again for listening. Please like this video, smash the like button, hit the little bell icon, and share this video. If you've got somebody you know that's thinking about buying a plane or a boat, send them this video, send them this podcast link. I'd be curious to hear the feedback. Take care, everyone. Talk to you again soon.